Agent Romanoff. You miss me?
Oh yeah, Charles, we got ourselves an X-Men fan.
Captain.
Your Highness.
Captain, big fan, Spider-Man. Hey everyone.
Hey everybody, in case you're not aware yet, our name is changing. We are no longer Film Artsy, our name is changing to Filmonger. What does that mean for you guys? Well, nothing too much. It's the same old bond, it's the same great content, just with a new initiative. So be expecting that name change officially to Filmonger. Now let's get to the video. Hey everybody, I'm your guy, Trevor Baker, and we are talking some more Spider-Man today. And how can we not? We're going on the biggest Spider-Man ride ever. We have all of these leaked information. We have the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer drop out. And then we had Venom Let There Be Carnage blow our minds and leave right now. If you haven't seen Venom Let There Be Carnage for some reason, spoiler, 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 we are gonna have Venom in the MCU. What? It's crazy. It's super exciting. It just seems like Spider-Man all day, everyday news. And it's kind of overcast even the Eternals movie. Like, I saw Eternals show coming out, and it's like November 5th or something. I was like, oh wow, that's soon. I don't care. I mean, I look forward to watching the Eternals, but like, I'm all on the Spider-Man hype train. And there's some more reasons to be hyped because we got some information about future Sony Marvel projects that are coming up from the director himself, Andy Serkis. But before we get exactly to what Andy said and some of the implications of his statements, who is your favorite MCU or Sony villain that you've seen so far on the big screen? Let me know in the comments below and I'll let you know mine at the end. So Andy Serkis made a pretty good Venom movie. You can actually check out my review somewhere later here. It wasn't flawless, but it's definitely around going down the right path. Like I said, it really captures the humor, and that dynamic between Tom Hardy and Venom is awesome. I wish I could have seen Carnage in like a more violent way. I see a lot of people promoting that point that he's a violent character in the comics, and so to be PG-13 and just see him kind of toss people to and throw, meh, not what we wanted. But that is not why we're here. We're here to talk about no one denying what we saw in the end credits scene. Now, there's no shirking around it or being sheepish about it. We know that Venom is indeed entering the MCU, but we haven't talked a lot about the reciprocation of that as well. We know it's probably going to lead to Spider-Man No Way Home, and now we're looking at footage where we thought it was Lizard, and it's probably actually Venom, which I'm a little bit more on that train. I've kind of been on the train of I don't think the Sinister Six is established in this film, personally. Now, a lot of people would disagree with me. I think we're seeing things in the clips that aren't actually there. Andy Serkis came out, and he started to talk about, hey, yes, you know, we do have a crossover happening. Serkis says the portal is not being crossed fully, it's opening up more questions. I suppose rather than sort of affirmly saying anything, it's a tease. It's a tease in the fullest sense of the word. But he goes on to say this is not a full crossover, which is interesting, not exactly. So it sounds like it's not like everything from Sony got pulled to the MCU or vice versa, but it's connected. And it's one of those things where he's aware that, okay, we've established this now, and now we have, it's like you go to a board meeting or a story writing meeting, and you're like, okay, what do we want to do? What do we want to establish? And as I said in a previous video, the Sinister Six has always kind of been their end goal, and so maybe this is the path they go down. But I am actually maybe more interested to see how they take MCU stuff and bring it back over to Sony. So we've been talking about how Spider-Man No Way Home, oh yeah, Venom's gonna be in it. But then you hear Andy Serkis, who is the director of a Sony film, the Venom film that we just watched, Venom Let There Be Carnage, and he's talking about the implications of having that crossover established and that he's excited to get to it. He's saying it's not a full crossover. We don't know exactly all that's happening, but it's a tease and it's definitely happening. You know Venom 3 is around the corner, and you're sitting there going like, hey, wait a second. You know, we're thinking about Marvel having some Sony stuff. Well, what about Sony having Marvel stuff? Like Tom Holland being in a Sony movie, that'd be like well, that's crazy. And this is essentially what Andy Serkis is insinuating. Andy Serkis says the collision, as he's been calling it, is official. It's between the Spider-Man from MCU and Sony's blockbuster Venom franchise. This dynamic relationship is a cornerstone of the Spider-Man comics, and so there's finally established. And to take two successful stabs at me, because Venom's doing quite well, and obviously Spider-Man's doing very well, and to have that finally cross over is really, really cool. Before we continue this video, I just want to let you guys know that we have an awesome Instagram that updates on a regular basis with all things Marvel, DC, and everything that you love about the movies. So if you haven't already, go follow that Instagram right now. You won't regret it. Now let's get back to the video. Now I don't know what the implications moving forward is when it comes to like a storyline, because you think, okay, if Spider-Man's Tom Holland is in the Venom universe, well, is it still the Venom universe? Is it still the Sony universe, or is it a new universe? Where do we stand on universes? And this is actually going down my theory of, what if the end of Spider-Man No Way Home doesn't establish everything being put back together? What if rather it's more messed up than it is? Because you do have a movie following Spider-Man No Way Home called The Multiverse of Madness, which does insinuate to me, oh, well, everything's hunky-dory now. Everything's super freaking okay. It sounds like it's freaking not super okay. Like at all. And that's why I'm interested, because we're hearing about these crossovers, and we're hearing about what Andy Serkis is saying, and we know that he's insinuating. He's like, this is what Andy Serkis is saying. Tom Holland, or at least something from the MCU, will be in Sony films moving forward. So what's the connection there? And you can't just like plot people in and not have a story anymore. Like Venom's a part of the story, and Sony is now intertangled into the web. No pun intended about the web, but they are. And so I'm just sitting here thinking, where are we going to be left at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home? Andy Serkis is clearly brilliant though as the director, and already saying we're going to have crossovers and connections with Venom 3 with the Marvel Universe, and it's totally untapped. Makes us interested to see what Sony does moving forward. I think Sony is realizing how lucrative it is to pair themselves with Marvel. I know they wanted to step out doing their own thing, but now having this connection point is unlike anything they've done so far. This is far exceeds the Morbius, right, trailer that we got with Michael Keaton in there. Now we've got Venom and Spider-Man meeting up, and Andy Serkis is like, yeah, it's freaking dope. We don't know exactly what we're doing, but it's gonna be freaking awesome. And it makes Sony realize that, and we just keep riding this curtails, we're gonna make a lot of money too. And isn't that the goal of anything? Because we had Andrew Garfield Spider-Mans and they did okay. We had Sam Raimi Spider-Mans who did well, but connecting ourselves to Marvel, I can tell you, the next Venom movie with Tom Holland in it, huge box office numbers immediately. So what do you guys think about what Andy Serkis' statements here? Although there's not a ton of meat in the sense of he didn't give us any details, because there's not many details to go off of. We do have one thing. We have an official established connection between Venom and Spider-Man as a result of the end credit scene. 2, we have them already planning crossover movies. It's not a theory, it is a statement that's been said. But 3, we also know that these are not fleshed out at this moment in time. I think we're going to know a lot more when Spider-Man No Way Home comes out. I think Spider-Man No Way Home is going to be so establishing for where we stand and the whole storyline moving forward. All that being said, thank you so much for watching. If you want to know who my favorite MCU villain is, it's kind of a tricky one, because if it comes down to Spider-Man, I actually like Doc Ock from the Sony universe. But it comes down to Marvel, I love me some Thanos. He's been a big villain that I've enjoyed, and so I like to see him on the big screen. I thought it was very cool. The one I'm hoping to see come up is Dr. Doom, but he's not even in it yet. But I'm looking forward to that as well. As always, if you like this video and you want to see more, subscribe, turn on notifications, give us a thumbs up, and leave a comment because it really helps us here. And as always, until next time, thank you so much for watching.